Well, apparently you hit a button at some point, or I hit a button at some point, which made everything go haywire. And now I have to start over. So hopefully this video actually works this time. Lots to do. Literally just trying to figure this whole thing out. But yeah, there's never been a better time to start than now. I say as this whole thing goes haywire again. I'll get there. If nothing else, at some point I'm sure Eddie will teach me how to actually hold the darn thing so that it does what I need it to. But until then, oh, until then, we've got some, I'll call this all test footage, because I feel like that's appropriate, but you get some beautiful views of Toronto. So this tower up here was where I dated someone briefly, and then we had like one of those really great first dates. But as time went on, you kind of realized just like, oh, maybe you're just not a nice person. So, yeah, that's what that building represents to me. And it's like, it's a big one too. But, I don't know if you ever go to the, what was it called, the Verve? I think that building's called the Verve. If you ever go there, yeah. I'm not going to say it's terrible to not trust an entire building because the person you dated was the crappy person who lived there. But I'm also not saying that. Because why not? If there's one thing you should always do, it's judge everything harshly. And forever. And also be sarcastic, but that goes without saying. Alright. We're at the corner of Wellesley and Homewood. Is there anything interesting in this area? Not a ton. There is a school over here. And that school was used to shoot Hairspray back in the day. So if you're a fan of the Hairspray movie, that's one of the schools where they shot it. And if you're looking over here, that's just downtown. And if you go over here, get a really beautiful little, like, I don't want to say back garden, but certainly something that gets, there's like this really interesting little sculpture path that I always thought was pretty cool. That frequently gets overlooked because most people don't know it's there. When you do know it's there, it's like, yeah, it's worth a little visit to. So that's what we're gonna do. This is also just me trying to figure out, voice levels, what's good for talking, where's good to place, how do you keep things entertaining for a long period of time. It's just like a really beautiful little courtyard in there. Some of these buildings have like really nice spaces in the back, but you wouldn't know it because it's all just kind of not too much craziness. Yeah, it's like this little rock garden type thing. I don't know if I'd call it a park so much as a semi-paved space full of rocks and dogs that you can go to. It looks nicer at night when everything's lit up. One day will come. You'll get to see it, and it's really, really cool. I have to admit, in the day, maybe a little underwhelming. Crossing when traffic's done, like a good pedestrian. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but I did. Alright, this is a much more comfortable way to hold this, I think. And slowly getting the hang of this. We're getting some nice views of the city, which is always nice. I've always wondered what this church was like on the inside. I've never actually been in there. And the only reason why is because, the church. Why would I go in there? Doesn't make sense at all. It is definitely something that takes a little bit of getting used to. Because the walking and the talking, not terrible, but certainly something that takes a little bit of getting used to. And I'm sure once I go on it, it'll probably make a little bit more sense. Ooh, this statue over here? Okay, I used to live in one of those buildings right over there. So that's St. Jamestown. It's kind of like a lower income area where many people who first move to Toronto usually end up here because it's all very dense. That's the grocery store I go to all the time because it's cheaper than everywhere else. But when I lived there, my boyfriend at the time, literally, we were walking back from the bar and he really had to pee. And the only place to pee would have been here. So he came to pee right on the statue. And just like, I don't know if that's a nice thing to do to Virgin Mary, but, here's my thing. It's just like there's the person here at the bottom begging the statue of Mary, which, not a great look in the first place. But at the same time, if you look on the inside of Mary, she's got the pigeon spikes, because of course she would. Why would she not? And then also just some beautiful flowers. Yeah. Toronto's actually feeling kind of vibrant today. It's not too warm, not too cold. It's kind of in the middle. Good jacket weather. I'll go down the street. Not just because there's some beautiful people. Yeah. Cars, and more cars. Oh, look, it's Hunter. So we have a joke in the household, and that's that Hunter is a pigeon. So now anytime I see a pigeon, I'm always like, oh, look, it's Hunter. Is it funny? No. But that's where it comes from. Ah, that's depressing. Already leaves on the ground. But, not a bad thing. Seasons change. Actually, there's quite a bit of, lush and lovely foliage around, which is always nice. Actually, some of the gardens over here are kind of ridiculously good. I'm not even, a big garden person, but, you can't deny it. Some of them are just kind of unreal. It's super cool. And it's you have some of these, really, the really old money houses, right? And they just have these beautifully manicured lawns. Everything's done up to be just pristine. Well, this was the one that caught my eye. I'm just gosh dang, that's just cool. They knew what they were doing and they did it well. Yeah. I always thought this was interesting because this one street just happens to have if you're on a bike or a pedestrian, you can go through here no problem. But if you're in a car, halfway through the street, it just has the pillars here. And that makes it so that you can't drive through here, but you can walk and you can bike up to this area. Which I've always just been I don't know the reason why they did that. But I'd be curious to know the story. That's my big thing about Toronto is I'm just every city is really just buildings. It's brick and glass and metal and steel and plants to a lesser extent, but every place is designed to be this kind of harsh, unique space. But really, the only thing that makes any city unique or any city interesting at all is the people there. Like, the people make the stories. And even, like, natural life and stuff and everything else like that, you still have... Like, it all just comes down to people. Because we are the thing that endows other things with stories. We are the thing that creates the narrative in so many ways. It just gives us these beautiful things to create and connect and relate to and cherish, and ultimately that's what it's all about. So every city is just kind of glass and steel and whatever, but the only thing that keeps them interesting and engaging or worth looking at or traveling or exploring are the people who have made the stories happen there. Yeah. Maybe that's too philosophical. Or maybe not philosophical enough. I don't know. I don't know my eyebrow. I do not know what my audience is going to be yet, so we'll figure that out really quick. Yeah, I'm really happy to have you talk to me about this, because there is something a little, odd about just walking through a space and just talking about it. I mean, to be fair, I could just walk, but again, stories. I think everything's worth coming back to if it's got a good story. And hopefully there's some good stories here. Okay, I tried something there and it didn't quite work, but that's okay. There we go. Again, theoretically, I will figure all of this out, but not yet. There's much to do before then. Remember there used to be, like, a biblical TV show. Growing up in, like, a super Christian household, I was only allowed to watch, like, one of the few channels we were allowed to watch was, like, Super Christian Radio. And they had the one program, 100 Huntley. And I'm just like, oh, very random. But apparently that would have been, like, just in that building right there. Which is, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Probably not great. Man, I've already talked. I should really stop slagging on churches right now. One day. One day I'll do it. That day's time. And now we're on Bloor Street. One of the busiest, if not the busiest street in Toronto, I would say. Yeah. Yeah, you get some really interesting stuff in the city. But this area specifically, like, I don't know. Not the most exciting, but you get a lot of vibrancy, which is always cool. little kick of brightness there. Oh, things are going to get loud for a second. Just going to give you the idea of the area we're in. When I did have my dog in the area, I would walk around here all the time. And she liked it. It was a really pretty area. There is a lot in the area that you could see if you wanted to. Like, you could head up to the reference library, which is probably one of my favorite buildings in Toronto. There's some really interesting bars and cafes here. You get more churches, more sprawl. But it's been interesting to see how things are. I've been in Toronto for about 15 years now. I'm originally from North Bay, Ontario, so it is definitely a nice. This is definitely home at this point. I certainly feel more at home in Toronto than I do anywhere else. But still, you just get a lot of really beautiful, like, city scenes. Also, the one thing a lot of people say is just how clean Toronto is. And I'm just like, really? But yeah, after being some other places, I'm just like, yeah, definitely not quite as pristine as this is. That's also normal, I suppose. Alright, if we were to go that way, that's Bloor Church. But like, let's come down here for a minute. Walk through some of the paths that get overlooked. And I mean, while we're here, you have to go through the archway, right? Oh, I can't believe this siren. I mean, does it open towards, the back end of a very unimpressive building? Yes. Yes, it does. But also, where does it? So if you're sitting through this, thank you for walking with me. I know that it's mostly going to just be test footage and making sure everything is working the way it should. Also, while I get a handle on, I want to try to get a handle on the gimbal and the microphone as much as I can before I launch into things. But hopefully tomorrow, if I'm able to go live stream, I'll definitely start doing that tomorrow. But yeah, also just kind of nice to get to explore a little bit and show some of my favorite areas. I mean, what's not to like about the village or certainly one of the places I spend more time in Toronto than anywhere else. If you look up over there, you'll see the corner of the next street. So just past the light there. That one with the orange roof, that used to be my place. I was there for just under a year. It was fine. It was what I needed at the time. It was definitely overly priced for what it was, but then again, you're living in downtown Toronto, everything's a little pricey compared to where you are. So now we go. I mean, those sirens are pretty much just making it. The other season in Toronto is construction, so a lot of that happening constantly. I think Toronto right now has more condos being built than anywhere else in the world, which doesn't sound correct until you actually look around Toronto and you're just like, no, maybe that's correct. It seems like that might be correct. So. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's right in the middle of the sidewalk. I can't be the only one who gets annoyed at that. Or the park. It's always nice to have, like, Toronto has some really beautiful, like, parkettes. And you just get these beautiful, like, not quite art exhibits, but they've definitely tried to, like, spend significant money on sprucing things up and making it look dynamic and interesting and cool. And at the same time, you know, going through what every city is going through right now with, you know, what's going on. It's just interesting to see how so much work and money can be sunk into putting into trying to make things, you know, safe spaces and all that stuff. And then just having them not be able to be used because they're not addressing other issues that are prevalent and need to be addressed. But that's, you know, Just another issue, I suppose. This is the street I used to live on. Just down at the corner. So I would take Raina over here for a walk all the time. And she tolerated it. I don't know if my dog actually liked anything. But, you know. I don't know if I'll ever get another dog, but we'll see. Now, the funny thing is when they were actually building this area, they literally had 3 parks. So it was this one, the one that we just walked through, and the one in front. But like the whole time I was living here, at least one of them was closed the entire year I was living where I was living. So didn't really even get a chance to take Raina through all 3 of them. Just kind of got to be one at a time or exploring a little bit at a time. But what they've done with this space is nice. Like they have beautiful gardens over here. And this is a fountain that actually turns on when it turns on. But you know. Of course, you have your kids' playgrounds, which I think I've seen some kids on the playground a couple times. I can tell you when. I can tell you for how. Looks like this gimbal does seem to be working. Very, very well. But once we get to the end of this, we're going to have a couple different things that you can see, which is nice. We'll pretty much come out the same way we did last time, which is right in the middle of the village. But gotta start somewhere. Start with what you know, and then go from there. So. A lot of e-bikes out today. And I guess it's just the kind of day it is. Here's the perfect time to enjoy the last vestiges of summer while you still can. This was a place I always enjoyed. So this is Stormcrow. They are a place that caters to being like a, well, it used to be like a geek-themed bar. Now the theory is it's just kind of gone full Niagara. Where it's all just kind of a little bit too over the top now, or a little bit too much. But, oh well, it used to be just a nice place where you could go and it was all decked out in geeky materials and geeky instances, so definitely worth checking out if you want to. But maybe it's just good to kind of know what you're getting into there. Oh, there we go. This used to be the beer store here. Well, yeah, in Canada we used to have a store called the beer store where they sold beer. But it's been empty for like, God, it's kind of been like at least 10 years now at this point. I think that's kind of ridiculous. So, who knows? Maybe something will go in there eventually. Great record store if you're ever walking by Dead Dog Records, check it out. Not that I'm a big record person. There was exactly one record that I wanted to get growing up. And by growing up, I mean like 10 years ago. But I was walking by a record store, and they had a copy of Harley Rae Jepsen's Emotion, and I wanted it so bad, and I didn't get it. And then I went back the next day to get it, and they were out. So then I missed my chance to get the record, and I've never seen it since. So I haven't wanted to pay $56 to order its festival online. One day, maybe. Also, Pete's Pizza is terrible. Like worst pizza in Toronto. But beside there, they have Wistful Thinking Bakery, and that's actually really, really good. So I'd highly recommend that if you're ever in the area. Nothing beats good old-fashioned baking, but especially they have like this monkey bread, and essentially it's like cheese bread that you can kind of tear apart, and it just melts. So crunchy, it's good. It's everything you want. Well, nothing else. I would say this has been a fairly successful test. So, I don't know. We'll get to kind of see where it goes from here and how we can kind of maneuver things from here. But it has been a good test of the equipment, and now I get to kind of see how we can go from here. So, thanks for joining, and I shall potentially see all you folks very, very soon, hopefully with a live